This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, fill your card up with all their amazing comics. Use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. Save you 10% at checkout. Not only on their website, but also at their eBay account. And the link to eBay can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Again, CarterComics.com is your one-stop shop for all comic needs. What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
I'm Cartoon Joe.
And welcome back to another episode of This Freaking Show. It is a weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. And I want to kind of start out with something new, something exciting that I kind of ended JFW with. I kind of wish I didn't, because I know it's more likely people are listening right now than they are listening to the back end of the shows. I finally stopped being lazy when it came to content and social media, and finally got Freakin Studios Discord up. Kind of finally launched it. Technically, it's existed for several years, but I finally was able to create that neighborhood, if you will, for Freaknet Studios.
Nice.
That I'm really excited for. And if you guys don't know what Freaknet Studios is, which is fine for a lot of the new people who may not know what it is, several years ago, me, Cartoon Joe, Dizzle J, who was my original co-host with JW, still there, just once in a while, and another content creator that we started all up, kind of working together to cross promote and build with each other, and we decided to kind of create one community called Freaknet Studios. And it's just like, it's, as I mentioned, it's a way to cross promote podcast. So we have our own Facebook pages, we have our own shows, we have our own Instagrams, our own Twitters, our own YouTube channels, and now working with them and talking with them, I figured out that, with the new shows that we brought on over the course of the last couple of years, like, what can I do to kind of help all fan bases come together and hopefully maybe find some new shows that they'll be interested in? Realizing that I've had Discord for years. I mean, the whole reason we have it was to interview Kitsukami, which she says hi, by the way.
Oh, hi.
The whole reason we have it is because of Kitsukami, because we recorded the show on that and have it, and it just sat there, just was there. Until one day I started fiddling with it, and I was watching videos on what the possibilities of it is and everything. So that exists. So for anyone out there who's listening, if you want to go to a one-stop shop for This Freaking Show, for all of our other partnered podcasts, to where you can find our sponsors and their links, where you get notified when new shows are coming out, that's all going to be on Discord. You can find the link to that over on our This Freaking Show Facebook page, as well as going to be listed in the show notes of our podcast. So we'd love for everyone to move over there, subscribe to that, follow that and everything. And then hopefully, that could be a community where you guys can reach out to us. There's a chat for the fans. There's a video chat for fans. So if we ever get a chance to maybe sit down and talk with people, whoever want to talk with us, but definitely like a regular chat for you guys to kind of share like your thoughts and everything. I'm thinking about adding a spot for like maybe people who want to be guests on the show. Thinking about doing that, maybe a Q&A section that people can leave questions we can answer on the show, and maybe growth. So hopefully we can start growing this. We'll start promoting everyone to come over, and then we can kind of start growing it from there. But I'm really excited about it. I'm happy for it. I wanted to share that with everyone before we dive in to the rest of the show. So, Joe, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice. I mean, it's not nice, but it's weird when like yesterday was still like the low 90s, but it was the nicest day of like the last 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. We tried to open the window last night to go sleep, and it was like that scene in The Terminator where Sarah Connor is holding the fence and the nuclear bomb hits her and she's suddenly a skeleton.
And I know, like, I know it's not going to be here forever. Eventually, it's going to cool down again. God knows whenever that is. Um, but it's the humidity that's the worst part of it all.
And
It's that thick, sticky feeling.
yeah, and as this meteorologist I saw on TikTok or whatever said, it's not even the humidity, it's the dew point, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because like the humidity is horrible, don't get me wrong, but like the fact that I just can't cool off because I'm just sweating and it's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
killing me. Killing
Yeah.
I drink. I have this half gallon
Hmm.
with my Elijah's Extreme Hot Sauce sticker.
There we go.
Um, and I drank one of these today, and I peed about I don't know 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, and it was this color, which I think is orange, but I'm both colorblind and looking through sunglasses. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you can't ask me, man. 'Cause I couldn't tell you what color that is.
yeah, oh, are you colorblind too?
I am. I am.
Okay.
Color, yeah, color. I like to tell people it's more like a color deficiency.
Yeah.
Blind seems like I could see dog colors like gray.
Mm-hmm.
But I say people with deficiency just because it's like I can see colors, but certain colors that are like next to each other or too similar. Like for me, red and green, blue and purple, they're too similar. But I mean, how there's been times when people are like, oh, like what color is that? Which happens every time,
Right.
especially girls. I don't know why. Like I guess it's more surprising for girls than guys because, from what I understand, and again, this is just like I believe I've heard this, but maybe I read it somewhere. Uh, it's very rare for women to be colorblind. It's more of a guy thing.
Yep.
But without fail, every time like I have a conversation with a girl about like colors, whatever, I tell them I'm colorblind. They always say, well, "What's this color? What's this color? What's this color?" On and on and on. It's like, I mean, it's a fun game, but it's like,
It's
yeah,
fun the first, I don't know, 3 times, or like when you're a teenager and there's only one goal in mind,
yeah.
and anything she does is cute.
Right, it's like kind of like you like it's if it was like an implied flirty thing, it'd be even better. But like every time we do it in my mind, it's like what are you trying to achieve now? Because technically, I could be lying this whole time.
100%.
Like I could be going 36 years telling everyone like, oh, I'm colorblind, but I've been lying. Like I actually see vivid colors that nobody else sees in this world.
Right.
I could be a complete liar, and I could be like, well, I would say that's purple because you're a girl and you're wearing it, but maybe it's blue. And they're like, oh, it is blue. I'm like, okay, well, see, maybe I took a guess, but to me, I would say purple. It could be a
Yeah.
lie.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not lying. I am colorblind. But like I said, it's just
What I think is really funny is my dad knew I was colorblind before I did. No doctor ever told me I was colorblind until I was an adult.
I found out I found out I was colorblind when I got that little book at the eye doctors that said, "Tell me what's in there," and I like would flip through like, "Oh, that's an 8, that's a 4, that's a 7. There's nothing,
Yeah.
still nothing." Like, well, no, there's something. Like, no, there's nothing there. Like, it's just a circle of the same color green, and they're like, "Oh no, there's a 17 in there." I'm like, "There ain't,"
Yep. They
and it's
did
just not.
this, like on a computer or like a slideshow thing for me.
Yeah,
And they never told me what I was supposed to see. And so like they would just be like, I don't see anything. And they go, oh, interesting. And they'd move on.
yeah.
Uh, while my dad be in the back being like, that was a 2. I don't. That's,
I think the most common question I get from a lot of people is like, because I would tell them that, like, I mean, a lot of times green and reds will kind of like mess with me, especially when they're next to each other. So if I tell you, like, I have a hard time differentiating between green and reds, what do you think your first question would be to me?
you have a hard time differentiating between greens and reds.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think the first question to me always is?
The first question is always, well, what does grass look like?
Ooh, that'd be a good one. No, so to me, my first question I always get is, well, how do you know when to stop and when to go while driving?
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, you know what? Good question. First off, I know how a traffic signal works. Now, sometimes they're, side to side.
Right. It's,
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's like if you use logic, like I said, I use a lot of logic when I think of colors. Logically, if everyone else is going, it's green.
right.
Now I'm gonna say it's 80% of traffic signals. I can differentiate that red and that green, and we're okay.
Right, because they're
But
not
they're
over
not
separate. Separate
exactly,
distinguish them a lot easier.
exactly. It's like it's certain shades of reds. Like for Christmas, fucking free for all. Like something could be red, something could be green.
Mhm.
Candy canes, like sometimes they just look like white and green to me.
Interesting.
It's just how it is. Blue and purple are
Really,
really similar to me,
there are white and green candy canes.
and that's the thing. There's white and green, there's red and white, there's red, green, and white. Like there's such a variety. But I mean, like to me, it's like I know what a Christmas tree is. I know I'm not gonna see any red Christmas trees.
Right.
I can tell what a tree color green is. You put a red ribbon on, if it's a vivid red, I can see it. Like I said, it's certain ones. But like when you get people, it's like, oh, but what about this? What about that? It's like, so like you said, like what does grass look like to you? Like it looks like green. Like it, I think everything looks more like green to me than it does look more like red to me. And I
Interesting.
think that's why, like when it comes to like colors, like when people ask, like, oh, what's your favorite color? Usually I say red, but it's more of like a crimson red, like a darker red. But if the red gets too dark, it becomes brown. So
Interesting. Yeah.
that's where like things like coming crazy. So it's
Yeah. For me, it's a very specific shade of orange that's kind of like this one.
okay.
And particular shades of green. So
Yeah.
like when we were growing up, our shed key was on orange key fob. And Houston, to mess with me, he'd love to just take it and he'd just throw it in the grass.
Hmm.
I would have to go find it. And I couldn't find it because like unless I could see the key itself
Yeah.
forever. Because that was the exact shades that I couldn't see when they were
Yeah.
together. Or like he and Elaine had me drive around a parking lot trying to find a Halloween store one time because I couldn't see the sign. The sign was green and orange on a background that made it all just like one weird like
Oh,
blob. Which like context clues, I should have realized the big salmon colored blob I couldn't read was the Halloween store. But you know,
yeah, yeah. But you're talking about I'm assuming you're talking about the same stores that have been around for years, where they just pop into any old Kmart or Target or
pretty much.
Venture. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it was before they added any black outlining to their letters.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so like I just couldn't find it. I was like, I don't know where it is. They
Mhm.
laughing at me, you jerks. It is funny though. I mean,
Mhm.
I would do it to me too.
So like when so I guess so if an orange is an issue to you and everything, like do you ever see like this discolors, like different colors, like when it comes to like the sun? And I know you don't stare at the sun obviously, but like because the sun is more than just yellow, right? I mean,
I mostly just see yellow when I look at the sun.
okay,
Um, different times of day, yeah, you can get some oranges and some reds,
okay,
but yeah, I'd say mostly yellow.
gotcha. I
Yeah.
always thought about getting those glasses that are supposed to help colorblind see come up. It just kind of I don't think that it doesn't sound real to me.
Yeah, so I recently learned that what they do is they help separate colors better when you're looking through them.
Okay.
So like if two things are right next to each other, somehow it does something to make it so that they're easier for your brain to tell them apart. And
Okay.
so what you would normally see separately and be able to see better, um, it fixes that problem more than anything else. The other thing is you have to, so they actually make three different pairs for the three most common kinds of color blindness. And so if you're like me, where you're outside the three normal ones, they don't make them for me. Uh,
Mhm.
and yeah, and so like $600 for something that might not work is just not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not going to try it.
No, no, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm fine without it. I think
So
last week on our show we talked about corrupt Illinois politicians. And we're still going to talk about that here on the show. This entire show is going to be based on horrible people doing horrible things. And the three things I do want to talk about is obviously Illinois politicians, which I made an entire list of the ones that I could find, what they did, who they were in Illinois. Kind of surprising to me based on, I mean, I wasn't surprised by how many there were. I was kind of surprised on which ones, which particular office the amount of them were,
Mhm.
and some crimes that weren't listed. So we're gonna talk about that towards the end of the show. I want to talk about sports fans, and I want to talk about social media pranksters.
Oh.
So the first one I want to talk about is sports fans, and I'm going to read an article that from MSN.com. Actually, do I want to read the MSN one, or do I want to find a different one? Let me look. No, I want to find a different one. I want to find one that's a little bit more detailed in what happened because it does kind of suck. What's it? Why is it? It feels like sometimes like certain news sites will just kind of copy another site's like story.
That's a great question. Sometimes I think they're just lazy. Other times I know that like so I've written press releases before.
Mhm.
Times when you write a press release, you'll send it to every newspaper you can think of. And the way that you're supposed to format it as a writer is so that the news people can just publish it immediately without any changes. So ideally, they follow up and they ask some questions and they write their own shit. Um,
Yeah,
but they're lazy too. So
I got you. I got you. I'll read this one. It is an MSNBC article, but it's a different article. A little more information on it. It is from, I think it was updated 2 minutes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a 2 minute read. It was from 7 hours ago. And for those of you who are sports fans, Chicago fans, or Arizona fans, you already know the story. But White Sox take immediate action against fan who hurled Ketel Marte comments.
yeah,
Uh,
what's up with that? So I think I saw something today
hmm?
uh, with that Cattell Marque. Is that what you said his name was?
Ketel Marte, yeah.
Marte.
Yeah.
I saw him standing on the field with a thing that said "We love you, Cattell Marte"
Hmm.
sign, and
Yeah.
like baseball is family or something like that.
It's very rare, and it's I mean it's I guess it happens more than anything. How do I word this? Professional athletes crying on the field when it comes to winning, final game of their career, anything like that is very common.
Sure.
To have an athlete openly weep on a field because of something somebody said, very rare,
Yeah.
should never exist.
Right. Well,
Um,
you're being paid millions of dollars a year to play a children's game.
yeah.
You should be very difficult to hurt.
Yeah, that's it. And that's obviously like people are like, oh, you're a ball player, you should have thick skin and stuff like that. And
Now, that being said,
yeah,
I also think like people and their feelings can get hurt.
yep.
Yeah.
People need to be better, and that's the thing. So I'm going to read the article, so you have a general understanding of what happened. So everyone who's listening has a general understanding of what happened, and then we'll just talk about it for a little bit. So the Chicago White Sox and Arizona Diamondbacks matched up in a three-game set to begin this week. During the second game of the series, Ketel Marte, Arizona's star second baseman, was seen crying during a pitching change, leading to speculation from fans and media about what could have caused it. There was this moment where obviously he's a second baseman, the shortstop, who's very close with him, and his coach came out and consoled him on what's going on. Diamondbacks manager Tori Luvulo consoled Marte on the field. Reports soon emerged indicating Marte was in tears because a fan yelled something to him about his late mother who died in a car accident in 2017.
Oh my God.
ESPN Jesse Rogers released an update that the White Sox and the MLB had banned the fan from all ballparks following the incident. A 22-year-old fan has been banned indefinitely from all MLB ballparks after yelling something about Arizona Diamondback second baseman Ketel Marte's late mother during Tuesday night's game against the White Sox, according to the sources, Roger wrote. In an era of social media, it seems like these incidents are becoming a bit more common. Boston Red Sox star Jaron Duran spoke up about his struggle with mental health earlier this season. Duran would have it thrown back in his face by a fan who hurled horrific words towards him concerning the same mental health struggles he courageously spoke of. The fact the MLB and the White Sox swiftly dealt with the issue is a good sign, indicates like this should never happen. So, brief article. Again, there's a lot of them out there, so people go ahead and read whichever one they want to read, but that's the gist of it. Now, the thing is, the one question people may ask, well, what was said? That has not been released. But it was about his mom. What it was, I don't know. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you from you enjoy sports. You're not a sports guy.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm sure you go on social media. A lot of people throwing hate towards people. It happens. What is your thought on the MLB and the Chicago White Sox banning this 22-year-old fan
Is he banned for life or just the season?
indefinitely?
Indefinitely. So they can choose to reverse it at some time in the future.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. It's stated that Sox and MLB. So is it just rate field? I have no idea.
Right.
Can he go watch the Cubs play? I don't know. Can he go to St. Louis? I no idea.
Yeah.
But as of right now, when the MLB bans somebody, like I believe in the playoffs last year, there was a player, and you go watch the video. It's messed up. I think it was in the first inning. I think it was the Dodgers White Sox World Series game. Or I'm sorry, the Yankees Dodgers World Series game. Yankee player went to go. I think it was Aaron Judge went to go catch a ball that was kind of in foul territory, and a fan. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was Mookie Betts, the Dodgers. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Mookie Betts. I probably could look it up. That's what they're not for. Mookie Betts reached into the fans to catch a ball. He got the ball, and a Yankee fan grabbed his mitt and was trying to rip the ball out of the glove. I believe that guy was also indefinitely banned. It was a very aggressive thing to do. And the thing is, I don't know if you can really blame it on alcohol because it was I mean, I guess you could have. It was the first thing, but maybe tailgating exists in New York as well. I don't know.
Right.
But what's your thought on the MLB?
I
I guess the concept of the ban.
yeah. I guess my biggest question is what did he actually say? Because like I have heard sports fans say the most heinous, horrific things to players.
Mhm.
And I've never seen a player I've hardly ever seen a player lose a step over it, right? Like maybe your focus as a pitcher gets messed up a little. Like it's
Mhm.
part of the game. But I think if you're saying something that makes someone cry, man, I mean, it must have been so specific, right? Um, and I don't know. I will like, I don't usually side with the, whatever with the company,
Yeah.
but I do think that, the MLB wants your money, and a 22-year-old fan would probably pay a lot of money over the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Uh, so whatever he said must have been really, really awful.
Mhm.
And I was reading another article as you were talking, like Lavulo looked up and like made eye contact with the fan as soon as he said it, and the fan like, oh no, he realized it was me and put his head down.
Yeah.
And then later he said that they mentioned that they interviewed him and he said he was very remorseful. Um, and so like I do think there is this. I guess to answer your question, I think an indefinite ban is a little nuts.
Yeah.
I do think that opens the door to like if there's an opportunity to reconcile between this fan
Mhm.
and Marte. I try to use people's last name. Um, if they reconcile and the ban is lifted, sweet, that makes sense
Yeah.
to me. Perfect. But I also think like if a player said that to another player, they'd be like, okay, that's a 10 game suspension, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, like from a fan standpoint, I feel like they should say, "Hey, it's the season, and also if you guys can't work this out, maybe it's next season too."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe that's maybe how I would do it, but I'm not in charge of baseball.
Got you. Uh, I'm gonna read another article real quick from MSN.com. I don't know why they have multiple, but actually it's weird. I click Sports Illustrated and it brings me to MSN. It's wild.
Interesting.
So this one's titled "A White Sox fan who taunted Ketel Marte over deceased mother." A fan who taunted Arizona Diamondbacks second baseman Ketel Marte about his deceased mother on Tuesday night at Wright Field has been banned by the Chicago White Sox. Sources told Jesse Rogers of ESPN. Additionally, as we were asking, the fan has been banned indefinitely from all MLB ballparks.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing. Side note before I continue: if he doesn't buy the ticket and he goes to a game in Washington.
So I actually learned they have crazy good facial recognition in a lot of
Ooh,
sports arenas.
okay.
I have an in-law, so my uncle-in-law, I guess,
Mhm.
is a lawyer out in New Jersey, and his firm was involved in a lawsuit against the like a record company that I think their record company dealt with Lady Gaga.
Okay.
It was Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift or it was some big mega pop star.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even part of the case, but he tried to go to a concert at Madison Square Garden and the facial recognition software caught him and security came and escorted him out because anyone involved with the law with the law firm the record company had banned from going to these concerts. And so the
Okay.
facial recognition software, even though he didn't buy the ticket,
Yeah.
um, he didn't buy the ticket. He wasn't there on behalf of the firm. He's not involved with the law firm, but his face is in the facial recognition software as a member of this law firm. And so they kicked him out. And so I imagine MLB has something similar where they can see that you're at the ballpark and maybe you're good until you take your sunglasses off, but as soon as the software gets you,
Yeah.
because we live in a surveillance state, and that's just
Yeah.
how it is.
I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna guess if he does want to go to any MLB games this year, he may be able to go to the Oakland Athletics games because they're currently playing at a AAA ballpark, and I don't think they're gonna have what you described at a AAA ballpark, but possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
MLB commended the White Sox for its handling of the situation, which occurred during Mattel's fourth at bat of the game in the top of the seventh inning. We commend the White Sox for taking immediate action in removing the fan, the league said in a statement, according to Rogers. Marte was in tears after the fan yelled something to him about his deceased mother, Elpidia Valdez, who passed away in a car accident in the Dominican Republic back in 2017. When the Diamondbacks made a pitching change in the bottom of the seventh inning, a tearful Marte was consoled by his teammates. Diamondback manager Torey Luvulo was among those who had heard the comment and lobbied for the fans' ejection from the game. After the contest, a 4-1 Diamondbacks win, Luvulo had his ball players back. Uh, I just reacted as a dad, and when I went out to change pictures, Lavul said post game, I could see that he was sobbing. It hurt. I love you, and I'm with you, and we're all together, and you're not alone. No matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy's an idiot. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have an impact on you. According to Rogers, the fan expressed remorse for his actions and admitted his comments had been inappropriate. Diamondbacks and White Sox will play a third round final game in a three-game series Wednesday at 2:10 Eastern, which was today, and I believe the White Sox did win, which they rarely do these seasons. So, my opinion on all this, if I had to sit here and even devil's advocate a lot of this stuff and like think about it logically, because I mean, like the thing is too, like because we also talked about, I don't know if you remember that scenario, but the couple that had the Otani ball with the Dodgers.
Hmm.
So, when it comes to this, it's all about what information do you have to determine a ban or whatever it is said? Now, here's the thing. We do not know, as of right now, I can't find it, what was said. If he says something about his mother, unknowing that his mother died, felt remorseful, apologetic, maybe an indefinite ban from all bar products is a little bit excessive.
Right.
I don't know what he said about the mother. I don't know if he referenced the accident and the death like he knew what it was.
Right.
There's the thing. Now, as far as remorseful, was he remorseful because he was informed he was banned? Now, is it a
Is he mad? Was he remorseful that he got caught? Or was he
right?
remorseful because he realized he actually hurt someone's feelings?
Yeah. Yep.
You,
Did he have guilt after the fact? Like, oh shit, I know I was getting kicked out tonight. I didn't think I was gonna get banned from baseball, Because we were just talking about the bans that were lifted on ball players last week, and
right.
now we're talking about a fan getting banned from all of baseball indefinitely. Um, I mean, there's a lot of factors. Listen, I'm not advocating for him to be allowed to go back to the park because I don't know what he said, and I don't know what information he had about Catel's mother's life or death or whatever before he said anything. So obviously, there's a lot of factors. But my guess is, when it comes to this, what he had to have said had to be really bad if Cattell Marte is upset, if the team is upset,
Right.
and all that stuff. It had to have been pretty horrible. And for that, sure, kick him out, ban him, and everything. I don't see it lasting very long though. And hopefully, maybe like I said, maybe they'll lift it if he does reach out to Cattell, and Cattell finally says like, I can
Yeah.
move on, I can let this go finally.
Right.
You know?
So, and I do think, oh man, what was it? It was there and then it was gone. I appreciate the organization protecting their players. I think that's
Yes.
important. And I do think like we tend to let stuff go a lot. If it's said to men and if it's said to ball players. Um, there's an expectation that that we're supposed to be tough, that they're supposed to be extra tough, and that stuff's not supposed to hurt your feelings. The sticks and stones or whatever. But the thing is like sticks and stones create temporary pain. But words can be buried in your mind for life. Um, and as much as we say words can never hurt me, but like words can hurt you way more than sticks or stones,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And like, yeah, if it was like, and I feel like it must have been, right. I mean, he's crying on the ballpark. I mean, it couldn't have just been like a your mama joke or something like that. It must have been like, hey, I looked it up and your mom was a drunk and she died because of it or something.
Mhm.
Horrible thing to say. Not very funny at all. Don't know why you'd shout it.
Yeah.
Um, but like that would be a barb that I could see hurting my feelings if that's how my mom had gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, trust me. If I was Cattell Marte, if somebody came up to me and I was getting, I was playing a Major League Baseball game and everything, and somebody was shouting shit at me because my mother passed away, and they're saying some again, who knows what was said, but
Also, aren't these guys all on
yeah,
steroids? Aren't you afraid?
right. Thumbs up. There you go.
Oh, man.
But yeah, like if it was me, it's like yeah, no, throw that dude in jail like that. I mean, yeah, you're talking about my mother, go to jail, but it's like what, like
Yes. Oh, sorry.
again, again, like I know, I know what he said. Say it again.
I love playing with the reactions.
Like I guess like in hindsight, aw, rain. I guess in hindsight, like I guess what he says doesn't really change much. What happened, what it is now.
Right.
It is just a curiosity on like what was said that
Yeah, I
decides that you
was
need to be gone.
have to get someone banned from baseball.
Yeah, yeah. I've this is the first time, and maybe it's happened before, and this is because this is a regional thing, and like it's where it's known about. But I don't really hear of people being banned for life or indefinitely over verbal words. It's wild.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, so it's unfortunate. 22-year-old, player, whatever. Just
I
keep
also
going.
22. You're so young. You're a child at 22, man. I'm sorry. I know that we have relatives who are like married with kids, but,
Mhm.
but like you're looking back at from 34, soon to be 35. You're a kid at 22, man. And I don't think a lifelong ban is appropriate, but
Yeah.
couple of years teach you there's consequences for your action. I'm in favor of that. That's fine.
Mhm. Yeah, I think,
That's
yeah. Let's see what next season is like. Who knows? Maybe him and Cattell will have a conversation. Who knows?
go
After a
well
while,
here.
yeah. Um, but speaking of people doing stupid things and playing stupid games, winning stupid prizes, I guess you could call it. I want your opinion about a Instagram social media rabbit hole I went down the other day that I didn't realize it was a consistent thing happening nowadays. I fell into this Instagram reel of watching TikTok pranksters, Instagram pranksters, content creators
Okay.
getting I don't want to call it retribution, but getting attacked by the people that they're trying to mess with. And
All right.
some I could agree in like, yeah, if I was put in the same situation, I'd probably do it too.
Right.
For example, which a lot of these have been particularly the same guy, and his whole focus, I can't remember the guy's name, but his whole focus is literally going up and pissing people off to get a reaction. And a
Yeah.
lot of times his expectation is pissing them off to where they yell, they scream, they start shoving, or they walk away, whatever it is.
Right.
So I saw two videos with this guy in it. One, he got what he got. He deserved it. The other one, not so much. So the one that he definitely deserved was it looked like he was in a pizza place. Went up to some random guy, gave the like, little bro, like, hey, what's up, man, or whatever, and then took a slice of pizza and slapped the guy across the face with it. And
That's
then
the
walked,
actually technically this battery.
yeah. So he sat down. The guy was kind of in shock, but then started getting pissed about like why he did it,
Yeah.
staring at his cameraman and him. The cameraman, one of those two guys said something to the guy who just got slapped in the face by pizza. It's like, yeah, keep standing there like you're gonna do something. And that dude walked up and jacked a dude in the mouth. Yeah, 100%. Here's the thing. You could have called the police on him. That is battery. I've seen videos of people spitting on people and being spat on. It's battery. If
Yep.
you spit on somebody, it's bad. I was told by a cop because I used to get bullied when I was younger. And I asked him, like, what constitutes battery? What constitutes assault?
Mhm.
And he told me, he's like, if somebody spat on you, that's considered battery. If they spat on you and they have HIV, that's attempted murder. Logic didn't think that, but that makes sense because HIV is transferred through fluids. He's like, so there's an extreme for a lot of things. But yeah, so justifiable. Dude got cocked in the mouth. Absolutely. If somebody slapped me, if some random dude came up to me and slapped me in the face with a pizza just to
And
get a video,
then decide what to do,
what's up?
and then taunted you about it as you try to
Yeah,
decide.
yeah, because you want to get like YouTube views. Like, cool, you're gonna get YouTube views by watching me just beat the shit out of you, Or I may just take the high road. More than likely, if I'm just gonna take the high road, just call the police.
No.
It's like I'd rather you get a charge, an aggravated battery charge, or whatever, premeditated, whatever the worst one you get. I'd rather you have that on your record than me also going to jail for assault.
Right.
The one I don't agree with,
Yeah.
the one that's a little bit, not even a little bit, the one that's a definite extreme. He took a phone that had that he typed a phrase into like Google Translate, and I think it was like "Hey dipshit, quit looking at my Twinkie" or something like that. And it kept like replaying it like over and over and over. So some random guy, I think it was a Grubhub or Uber driver, or whoever it was picking up somebody's food order, and this YouTube whatever prankster took the phone and shoved it right into the guy's face and was like right like in his face, like right here, like going like this, and like was following the guy until the driver pulled out a gun and shot the YouTuber. Didn't kill him,
Yeah.
shot the YouTuber and then walked away. So
Like,
needless to say, the guy who shot the YouTuber obviously got arrested. Jury found him not guilty.
yeah. Right.
He claimed self-defense. But I think shooting him was extreme.
It is a little extreme. That's for sure.
But he said he's like Because I mean, obviously, his YouTube video was the evidence, and he still posted a YouTube video. I mean, it's out there on Instagram, whatever. You
I'm
can hear it. What's up?
watching it right now.
Yeah, you can hear the guy say, "It's like leave me alone or get away from me," or whatever it is. Like just walking away. The guy's still following him and everything. It's like,
Jesus.
yeah. There was another video I saw where some guy was standing in the middle of the road. This
Yeah.
truck. What's up?
I'm just this is the guy shooting him is like 100% why I would to do that kind of prank in this country is insane to me.
Yeah.
Because anyone could have a gun and anyone could shoot you for it.
There was one video I just saw today. Some guy was just standing in the middle of the road, looking off into the like distance, sort of holding like a cup. And his truck pulls up and was kind of sitting there for a minute as the guy's like going like this. The truck honks, and the guy like points at him, gives like 1 second, 1 second, whatever. Guy honks, and he can't go. I don't know why. I guess he could have drove around. I think I did see him like kind of like try to move, and the guy like anyway, the guy in front of him wouldn't allow the truck to pass.
Yeah.
So the guy honked again. The guy honked again. All of a sudden, like the guy turns around, the prankster turns around, is like, "Give me a minute," blah blah, whatever. I don't know if he said like, I was bird watch, whatever the fuck it was. So the truck kind of like lunges forward. So the guy takes the prankster takes the cup and whips it at his truck. The guy
Mhm.
gets out of the truck with a gun, points it at him, and the prankster like ducks for cover, runs away into the woods, yelling, "Bro, it's a fucking prank! It's a fucking prank!" It's like, how does he know that?
Right.
All he knows, I have said it on this show. I don't know when it was, but I know I said I asked you, and I think I even asked Ryan when I was a guest on Geekcast Live last year. If you're driving down a country road at night and there was somebody standing in the middle of the road, do you stop and help? What do you do, or do you go around and shit? It's like you don't know who this guy is. And the fact that he's standing in the middle of the road, preventing you from leaving, whipping the a cup at you. Thank God for the driver who had the uh, restraint not to pull the trigger. Maybe just to scare the guy away. But eh, like thinking like that, what mindset do
Right.
people have for that?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I do feel like a big part of the appeal of those pranksters, I think, is watching them get their comeuppance.
Mhm.
And so like I feel like some of them are like hoping to get shot in the mall, and live so that they can get a million views.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's going to make the news. They're going to get 6-7 million views,
Mhm.
and that's going to be like
Yeah. So you saw the video. So you watched the video where the guy was holding the phone in the dude's face and he got shot.
yeah.
Okay.
And I found it on a news site. I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I didn't watch it on YouTube. I watched it on MSNBC just now.
gotcha. So there's an article that was written that was talking about the guy who got the verdict and everything. It says in there like so that YouTuber at that time was only making like $3,000 a month or something like that, $3,000 to $6,000 a month. Is that worth it?
Right.
Seven. I mean, like $72,000 a year. Is that worth being shot? It's. I mean, like I said, we make YouTube content. I can tell everyone out there, I'm never gonna make that type of content, like none whatsoever. Absolutely not.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know. Like there are videos of there of like people like running up behind like big huge dudes and like in hardware stores and putting like buckets over their heads and running away or in like Walmart's like whipping like betting and stuff at people and running away like yeah it's and these are like these are small people, man. I'm just like I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like people just need to be better. That's all I'm asking for people in the world. Like, just please, just be better.
Right.
Uh, so okay, let's talk about politicians real quick. Uh, so I sent you a list earlier. I ran through some of the more well, not I guess what I could find as who are the most corrupt of the corrupt of politicians in Illinois, and maybe we'll start with a little bit of them. Maybe we'll roll it over into next week because there is quite a bit of them, and so I did happen to highlight some of the keynote, well-known ones. One in particular I did highlight that I do want to talk about. That wasn't well known to me, but I did hear about her before we were talking about politics, and I'm surprised I never heard about them.
Hmm.
And if you go down to page 4, her name is Rita Crundwell,
Hmm.
and
Oh, the lady who was the mayor of Dixon.
she wasn't a mayor, she was a treasurer.
That's right.
But yeah, there's a documentary about her. There's all this stuff about her. But somehow she was able to embezzle $53 million from a town that only had like a what's called a GPA or GAP or whatever, an annual budget of like $5.6 million annually. Now she did do it over the course of 30 years, but
Wow.
or 20, yeah, 30 years. Yeah, yeah. But $53 million she embezzled from this company. And I guess if I remember from the documentary, and we could kind of like deep dive into it, like maybe next week or something like that. But she's the one that controlled the money, and she would write checks to a company that didn't exist to deposit that money into an account that she controlled. And she utilized that money not only for her horses, that because she bred like amazing horses, like prize winning horses, but also her vanity of life. She bought like a an RV that was millions of dollars. She bought jewelry and like fur coats, and these are things that she bought but never left the house in because people couldn't know. But
Yeah, because you got caught. Right.
yeah, so it was wild to think. And again, like, and all these are all just like, hey, this is who they are, this is what they did, and these are the positions they held. There's no like deep dive stories in any of them. I do know for her though. I know she was released from prison early because of COVID. I don't know where they fell as far as paying that money back though. I do believe they auctioned off her shit though,
Yeah, that's good.
which good. So the other one I said, I mean, we'll carry this over into next week. We can talk about more of this stuff next week. The one thing that surprised me the most is how many House of Representatives there were.
Mm,
I can't remember what number the letter T is in the alphabet. That's how far we got down. Uh, a good chunk of them dealt with taxes and bribery. We got a couple DUIs and stuff in there.
crazy how many wire frauds and
Yeah,
embezzlement. Uh,
yeah. The one thing that was really shocking to me, like throughout this entire list, it's like because I put so everything is categorized as their last office they held
yeah.
and that term that they ran. And I thought doing this, like you're gonna see a lot of like mid 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, maybe 1920s, things
Right.
like that. But when you sit here and look at 2017, 2019, 2014, 2018, 2014, 2013, 2019,
Yeah.
2019. Like the fact that like a lot of these have happened in the last decade or last
Yeah.
20 years.
21, I think.
Yeah, there's 2022 bank fraud and taxes, 2019 wire fraud, 2019 embezzlement, 2022 embezzlement, 2019 campaign fund fraud, money laundering, tax evasion. Like these, I mean, these are tax evasion is something like I thought was done and over with in the Capone era.
Right.
But the fact that mostly, which makes a lot more sense on how politicians have money while not paying their taxes.
Right.
But I don't recall ever hearing about most of this stuff. I mean, obviously, like I said, Rita Crundwell, I just heard of. George Ryan, Rod Pagovich, obviously the big ones. Mike Madigan, obviously a big one. Like those we hear about.
Yeah.
I grew up hearing about that stuff.
Yeah.
But like a lot of this stuff, like the fact that Jesse Jackson's son and ex daughter-in-law both went to jail within a year of each other, I never heard about that.
I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, he went for I think his was tax evasion and hers no, she was tax evasion, he was bribery. So he was a House of Representatives. No, he was in Senate. Let me see here. These are all alphabetized by last name too. Um, Jesse Jackson Jr. Maybe he was an alderman. Also, alderman. Weird that there was so many of those. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Oh yeah, I'm weirdly less surprised just because of I'm sure they're all Chicago aldermen. I mean that
They they are. No, yeah, they're all Chicago aldermen. Yeah.
I mean that's a town you got to grease palms.
Yep. So Jesse Jackson was a House of Representatives from 95 to 2012. He was arrested in 2012 for wire fraud and mail fraud. His wife was an alderman, so she is Sandy Jackson in 2013 for tax fraud. So the fact that the husband and wife both went to jail for two different types of fraud within a year of each other
Yeah.
is wild to me. There was one, I can't remember who it was, but George Ryan's relative is on here somewhere. There's a son who got charged for crimes that his dad got away with in the 80s having to do with the mob.
Wild.
So there's a line. We'll cover more. We'll cover more next week. I was hoping to get through most of this, but I think talking about Cattell and some of the things that people are doing online definitely was something I wanted to bring and want to talk about because the whole focus that and it's been happening a lot over on JFW is we've been talking about a lot of shitty things that people have been doing and the hopes and expectations that people will just do better.
Right.
And I wanted to bring this up because it was so fresh, it was so new, and I just love baseball.
Yeah.
So for those of you out there who are yelling people, you know, question their ability on the field. Don't attack them personally. That's just
We need a pitch,
ridiculous.
not a belly itcher.
All right.
Classic.
Joe, what are you freaking thinking about?
What am I freaking thinking about?
What are you thinking about?
I told you about that game Blueprints last week.
You did.
Um, I think I have beaten it.
You
Uh,
think you've beaten it?
well, it's hard to tell because there wasn't like any. It didn't like stop playing and go to credits or something like you would expect. But
Yeah.
um, excuse me. But I did find at the end of a bunch of convoluted things, I did find a book by the character's mother who is in hiding because she stole the crown from the kingdom or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, so early in the game you find a book called The Red Prince that's about you as a kid. And hidden in a treasure box in a locked room behind like 8 different doors that are opened differently every time. Um, there is a book called The Blueprints, and it's also about you, but it's like about reclaiming the kingdom and whatever. And you know, you've gone on this great journey and done all this stuff, and you're so mature now and whatever. And like you're still like a 14-year-old boy who just inherited an estate. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was fun. It was not as satisfying as I'd hoped. Um, but I enjoyed it, and I'm now going back and doing. There's other game modes you can play that with different difficulties and different challenges. So I'm trying those out. But I'm not as obsessed with those as I was. I mean, I was playing it in every free second I had um, previously, but with these other modes, I'm kind of like, if I have time, I'll sit and do it. But
Yeah.
I'm not. I got other stuff going on, and I
Mhm.
already beat, and there's no more secrets. So yeah. Anyway,
I've,
I'm
I've achieved all I could achieve.
pretty close.
Yeah.
But what about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
I found a new chiropractor. The one I was going to at the end of last year moved out to Colorado, opened up his own practice. So congratulations to him. Good luck with him. I
Oh,
found a chiropractor that it scares me because they offer a lot, which is a positive. They offer a lot and their focus is more on spine and nervous system, which is really awesome. It's I'm excited for that because I think my issue is spinal and nerve. I went there today and I had a long drawn out conversation about what issues I've been having, both emotionally, both mentally, both physical, all that stuff. And I'm already scheduled for tomorrow. Uh, they have a gym connected to their chiropractor. that they utilize to help people work out.
Nice.
And they said, okay, well, we'll get you scheduled for tomorrow. Then we'll get you in here. We'll kind of do we'll do some workouts instead of, we're going to gauge what you're capable of doing. Now the alarming, the thing that worries me the most, and I told him this flat out, and I was honest with him, and I hate doing it to people, but I do it every time, no matter who I talk to, any doctor, whatever it is. Money is always a factor. I don't know what my insurance covers. I just know what I can and can't afford. And I
Yeah.
tell them every time, it's like I want to be better. I want to get better. And it sounds like this is the kind of place that's going to get me there. But if I have to pay so much out of pocket, I can't do it. And it's just how we are in society right now. It's just how we are in life. Like, like the fact that in order for me to be better, I have to go through these doctor's appointments and these medical things, but who knows what, insurance is going to cover, which is the wild concept. So
Right.
I'm going to go. I'm going to start doing that. They have a gym that's connected to it that is free to their customers. So I'm happy for it. So I'm going to start going to that. So
Nice.
I'll keep you posted on it. Hopefully this is the beginning of the weight loss journey that I needed, that I wanted so badly. So next week we're going to talk about the criminal stuff and who knows what else. We'll figure out some other stuff because hey, this is what we do here. We talk about whatever comes up. Um, Make sure you guys check out our Discord. As I mentioned, the link to it is over on Facebook. So you can check out when these shows are being released and everything over there, or continue to watch the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Listen on Spotify, listen on Apple, rate, review, subscribe. Watch us over on YouTube, Freaknet Studios. We're so close to 500 subscribers. Please help us get there. It'll be fantastic. Subscribe, Freaknet Studios on YouTube. So that's all I got, guys. As always, I'm Travesty.
I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.